Hey guys, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to talk about the benefits and disadvantages of a Kydex sheath versus a leather sheath. Hey everybody, today we're talking about the difference between a leather sheath and a Kydex sheath. Both sheaths were made specifically for this knife. On the left here, leather, which is made of cowhide, has a leather strap it goes around the handle of the knife, snaps through, it has a belt loop, and it's all hand stitched. The benefits to leather: it's soft, it's quiet, especially if you're out in the woods and you're hunting. It won't make any noise rubbing against the brush or sticks or anything like that. It's also really soft, so it helps protect the blade of the knife from scratches. It is a lot more high maintenance than the Kydex sheath, as you do have to clean it and oil it fairly regularly to help keep it from drying out. The downside with leather is it does stretch, because when this sheath was originally made, this loop was tight around the handle and it is stretched out quite a bit, so roughly 3/4 of an inch. You can see by the bypass of the buttons, well, that's probably closer to 1/2 inch now, but it's stretched out about 1/2 inch already. So that's the downside of leather, is it does stretch. So when you make a sheath out of leather, you want to go tighter than you think you need, because when the leather lets out, especially after it gets wet, it will stretch. And the other downside is if the stitching, if it pulls out, if you don't do something like a saddle stitch, when one thread breaks, the whole thing could unravel, which is why I did a saddle stitch on this guy, because if this loop breaks, then the whole thing doesn't come unraveled. The sheath is extremely lightweight, which is really nice about leather. And on the right, we have a Kydex sheath. This guy I just really finished up. This is extremely light. It's very high-grade plastic, so it's very durable and very resistant to scratches. The downside is if you're a hunter and you're out in the woods, it makes a lot of noise when they're scratching. So it's because of that hollow sound. But it's very, very low maintenance. And the snap you hear is because it's form fitted, so it locks into place. So there's no way that's just going to pull out of there, which is why you do a thumb rest here to give you the leverage to pull this blade out of here. It has a belt clip here, which I like to use threaded fittings to make it so if you're left-handed or right-handed, you can switch sides, because this is canted. So when it's on your belt, it's horizontal to your belt, as versus the leather sheath, which hangs down from your belt. So this is a lot nicer if you want to be more discreet and you're doing concealed carry, because you can tuck this into your belt or tuck it into a pocket on the inside. You can hide your shirt over it a lot easier. So it's a lot more discreet doing this style carry, which is canted. But these sheaths also make good neck knives. So if you have basically a neck knife, for those who don't know, it's a sheath that hangs from a string around your neck and the handle points downward. So it's another way to carry. These are extremely versatile and you can custom fit them very easily. They're a lot faster to make than leather, because leather is a lot of stitching, which takes a lot more time. Even if you had a machine like a leather stitching machine, leather takes significantly a lot longer to make than these Kydex sheaths. So far, I can make a Kydex sheath in about an hour versus about 8 hours for the leather sheath. And unlike leather, there's no stitching. It's all rivets and it's heat fitted. And I have a couple rivets here on the leather sheath just for some extra support and high stress areas to give it a little extra bite. And then with a Kydex sheath, if the fitting is proper, you'll hear the distinct little snap when the blade goes in. That's the snap you want to hear, because that is form fitted to the guard on this handle. So that way now there's no way that can come out of there unless I want it to. Which is why it makes for a good neck knife, because when it hangs, the gravity can't pull this blade out of here. It takes a conscious effort to remove this knife. The downside to a leather button strap, I've had a lot of these guys catch and snap open. So now the handle flops around on my waist, which can be very annoying, and you're likely you could lose your knife if it's not balanced to where all the weight is farther down into the sheath. That way gravity holds it into the sheath better. But my vote is for a Kydex sheath. I find there's a lot more advantages than disadvantages over leather.